Hi, I'm Liam, host of the Killer Soup podcast. I'm going to be interviewing a bunch of actors, stuntmen, stuntmen, as well as some other people from the filmmaking industry. So if you enjoy this video, please like and subscribe. But for now, let's get the right ingredients to make up a lovely batch of Killer Soup. Okay, ready for some professional action? Don't worry, this is going to be a one-take wonder. Right, here we go. With over 100 credits to his name, Gary Kasper has shared the screen with many varying icons. Batman, Supergirl, Jessica Fletcher, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the list goes on. I'm going to ask Gary the tough questions like, did he hassle the Hoff? Gary Kasper, good evening.
Hey, how you doing, man? Hey, that was a great introduction. You know what? It's so funny. My career has been more like a stunt actor who jumps in and gets beat up and falls down and gets thrown through stuff most of my career.
But it's getting bigger and bigger. I got to ask you the first question, which is probably the most basic question of the whole night. But what got you into acting?
Man, great question. My whole family are policemen. I was studying criminal law, and I was just planning on doing that. I had a buddy going to USC and some friends going to Northridge that were studying film. So they were always asking me, and I was an athlete. So they say, hey, can you come over and do a little bit of a stunt thing for the film and stuff? And so I started doing college films. And everybody's like saying, man, you're pretty good at this and all this kind of stuff. I did a building-to-building jump on a college film for free on an alleyway in Hollywood. And I remember looking at this thing going, yeah, I can make this. No safety, nothing right. In stunts, we do everything to keep you alive. Back then, it was probably, I ran and made this jump and did this film for a buddy of mine. So I started getting interested in it. And another buddy came home with a girlfriend who came out here to be an actress. And so she goes, come down to this acting class called Ivan Marcota's, and he'll teach you how to cold read. And so I went down there, and I was still going, planning on being a cop. And then all of a sudden, I met an agent, and she goes, hey, listen, I'm not going to sign you because you're not SAG, but let me send you out. And she sent me for an audition with the guys who did, Stephen J. Cannell. So Stephen J. Cannell did the A-Team and all this kind of stuff. He's sitting there with a baseball hat behind the desk, and I was in my 20s, but I was playing a high school kid, and I get in a fight with Chad Everett. So is this too long? Anyway, I'll keep going.
No, keep going. No.
So Stephen J. Cannell is with the director, and I read. He looks at the director, and the director goes, and then he goes, "Are you SAG son?" And I said, "No, sir." And he goes, "You are now." And so, from just doing some college films, next thing I know, I've been Taft-Hartley'd into SAG, and I'm on the set with Mimi Rogers and Chad Everett. And Chad Everett was one of my mom's favorite actors, and so I come from a very tight upbringing, good upbringing, but they thought Hollywood was pure hell, Yeah. So, hey, I shot this, and I get in a fight with Chad Everett in the show and all this kind of stuff. And so I just called him up, and I said, hey, I'm going to be on TV Wednesday night, and it's called The Rousters. And so they watched me getting beat. My mom was like, your favorite actor beats me up for the first time. So anyway, that's how I got my SAG card. And then there was a movie called Vision Quest shortly after that. And I went up there with Matthew.
I've got a list. Sorry, I got a list on Vision Quest. Matthew Modine, Linda Fiorentino, Ronnie Cox of RoboCop, Forrest Whitaker, and Madonna.
Yeah,
that's a cast list.
I'll give you some quick stories on that.
Go for it.
Yeah, and so Vision Quest. Again, I was new. I really didn't know what I was kind of doing, and stuff. And then, like I said, this wasn't how I was hired as an actor still, because I had some wrestling background and all that kind of stuff. And I went in and read, and then they put us together. Next thing I know, I'm in Spokane, Washington. And I remember Matthew Modine came over to me, and he just goes, I saw your tape, man. It's great, buddy. Because, they wanted, my agency was trying to kind of make them go with this. They're one of their guys also. If they wanted Matthew, they'd take that guy. But he goes, man, I agreed that you deserve this part. And I was like, oh, thanks, dude. So he made me feel great. And then Forrest Whitaker, we were mates together as far as shared rooms up there, as far as the trailers and stuff. Mm-hmm. And when Madonna came in to shoot her stuff, They came in and partied all through and wiped our trailers out, man. And we didn't know who he was. I go, it's the girl that sings Holiday, man. Because this is, we were playing high school kids a long time ago. And then, hey, Forrest Whitaker had done Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and with the red car. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah.
So anyway, he bought a red Mustang up in Spokane. He said, hey, listen, you want to drive home with me? We'll cash our tickets in, our plane tickets in, and we'll drive home. And so we drove this red Mustang. We'd be at gas stations. I see people going, and he'd be wiping his car down. And it was just like Fast Times at Ridgemont High. And so that was Vision Quest again, as far as, and I thought, man, this business is pretty easy, I stepped in and
I was gonna say, you jumped in at the top. Like your first credit on the IMDb is The Feud, which was
that was high school. Hey, high school, and that was a joke thing. We all got together and made movies in high school too. So we had that.
What it was?
And the buddy that I did is with Cal State Northridge. He was the in that with us and was director on that. And it's horrible. I mean, yeah, it's Super 8. We tried to do the stop action like we're riding horses, but there's no horse, and it didn't quite work. And hey, we used to throw parties and have everybody come over and watch our movies, and they had to sit through this crap. Yeah,
I know exactly feeling. Dave and I have done that for years. So, but yeah, it's like, and it was like onto the Vision Quest. But then then it's like goes through a string of movies that you were in, and as you were describing.
So here's what happened. It was strange in the business, man. As far as when I came out of Vision Quest, I remember going on auditions, and I read for. No, it wasn't 16 Candles, but it was close to that. And I remember the casting director going, "How's Mike Schofling? Is he a good guy to work with?" And I'm thinking, I'm on an audition trying to get the part, and they're asking me about this other actor who they're planning on. And his career, he did 16 Candles, and then he left the business. He played Cooch, the Mohawk guy in Vision Quest, but he went on to do 16 Candles and everything else. And so anyway, I would fight for parts, and I would be, get pieces here and there, but I always played bad guys. And so I would be fist fighting. So that what happened was the stunt coordinators, they would start calling me up saying, "Hey, I heard you're pretty handy. I don't have a double for you. Can you, because you got a fist fight like in Baywatch." We'll get to the Baywatch stuff later. But
the next question.
Yeah. And so, hey, so there was no such thing as actor stuntman at that time. There was actors or you're a stuntman. Yeah. You're one or the other. And so then I was like I would always play bad guys. And so I started doing my own fights on this. I was still doubled on certain things. Like going through, they're worried about getting cut for a window and stuff like that. So they'd throw a stunt guy in there on that. So then as I was doing these shows for some of these coordinators, Ben Scott and different guys, they would go, "Hey, let me get your information from you." So then they started calling me, and they would go, "Hey, listen, you want to go read for the director against these actors?" And then I'm going to tell the director that you can go through the window and you can fight. And so they were starting to kind of combine it. But the problem was I would meet directors as a stunt guy, and they would think, "Oh, this is a stunt guy, can't act." And then I would meet coordinators, and they'd go, "Oh, this guy's the actor." So that world, you kind of fell in between. It was like, and so the Stunts Unlimited, Stuntmen's Association and stuff like that, these guys would call me and just say, I didn't belong with them as far as I didn't belong to their organization, but I'd work for each one of those guys because they would say, "Hey, go in and read for this director. I'd much rather have a stunt guy do this instead of doubling it and all that." So a lot of my career was coming in, like if you want to go into Baywatch and all that kind of stuff, or Lorenzo Lamas in, what's his show? Anyway, his show down there in San Diego. Anyway, I was right up on a motorcycle, get off the bike and go, "You got a problem with that?" And then get in a fist fight with him. So I was getting knocked out by Hasselhoff and all these different guys. So David Hasselhoff, wonderful guy. And he loved MMA fighting and stuff like this. So on Baywatch nights. I'm running down the beach and I get tackled. And that was a stunt double that tackled me. But then Hasselhoff, in the water, he's fighting me, and so he pushes me down and he throws his punch, and the camera guy said it was a miss, and so I go back down, he pulls me up and he tags me, and it was one of those punches that splits your eye right here, and you'll turn into Elephant Man immediately, as far as on the thing. And so he hits me, and all of a sudden he goes, "Crap," and he goes, "It was a miss," and he goes, "No, I hit him. I go, "I'm okay. And so we finished the fight. But the problem was I had a scene where I was talking to all my guys before this has happened in the show, and this is why I always say, man, if I would have done this to Hasselhoff, I would have shut the show down in thousands of dollars. That's why, man, when you're fighting the lead actor, you got to be so freaking careful, like on Buffy or Supergirl and all that. But Hey, so I had to shoot this thing, and my eye is like this, and the cameraman, if it was this eye here, I'd be like this, and then I'd be like, "We got to rob the bank," and then the guy would go, "I see it," and I'd start over again. "Hey, you guys, we got to rob the bank," and so I had to hide this big swollen eye, and Hasselhoff felt so bad, but I said, "I'm okay."
I was going to ask if you were in, because you were in Baywatch and Baywatch Nights.
Yeah.
And I was just wondering if your character ever drowned and you had to receive CPR or mouth to mouth from any of the Baywatch girls or from Hasselhoff.
Yeah, it's so funny you asked that. On the Baywatch episode, I'm smuggling in a dune buggy from Mexico these Incan treasures and stealing them, and they're chasing me in a dune buggy race, and I'm trying to get through, and my dune buggy goes underwater. So we did an underwater sequence where I'm strapped in to the thing, and I go down to the bottom of and Hasselhoff comes down and rescues me, and he drags me up on shore, but he doesn't give me mouth to mouth. Yeah. And so hey, on this thing, when you're seatbelted in on this dune buggy underwater, you go, "Hey, listen, you guys, I'm gonna be freaking out on this." The water safety guys are all right there, man. They're like, "Oh, good." And you go underwater, and you can actually hear underwater, and they're going, "All right, 3, 2, 1," and they pull my airway away. And all of a sudden we go, and I'm trying to get out of this thing, and I look up, and all the safety guys are undoing me and bringing me up. I'm going, "What are you doing?" And he said, "Dude, you're done." I said, No. Universal sign. If I do this, I'm really in trouble. That's the safety one. But if I don't, so anyway, that was the Baywatch. And so he didn't give me mouth to mouth though. But yeah.
No.
But he did sing for us. We were in the Hollywood caves, and he's hunting around, and so he did all of his European songs in there, and we were dying laughing. He was laughing about it. I really liked Hasselhoff. He's a wonderful guy.
I've been looking for freedom. I sang that on the Berlin Wall. Anyway.
It's a piece of history right there. Yeah.
He was there. They brought it down, and he was there. So, you were in Universal Soldier: The Return as Huge Nurse.
Yeah.
And you were also on Walker, Texas Ranger as, this is a brilliant one, Matt Avenging Angel Escobar.
Yes.
Now, the real question, I think everybody would regret it if I never asked this question, but who would win in a fight between Jean-Claude Van Damme and Chuck Norris?
Wow. You know what? Chuck Norris.
Yeah, I totally agree. David won't agree with you, but I totally agree.
I did an episode, I did a couple of episodes of Texas Walker. I did one where I was just a stunt guy, and I remember getting down there, and all of a sudden he goes, "Yeah, and Chuck's going to step out, throw a roundhouse kick, and knock you out real quick." And I went, that's like a bucket list. It was like Chuck Norris is going to do a roundhouse kick. And he was still pretty young at that time, as far as he could do it. And so he did a roundhouse kick to me on that one. And then I was asked back, and this is so funny. I got a call from Mike Norris and the whole family, and he goes, "Hey, we want you to read for this Avenging Angel." And then right before I go in, I get a call, and they said, "Hey, don't mess this thing up, man." So the pressure's already there. Now, Aaron Norris going, "Don't mess it up." And I'm in and I read, and I got it. So I thought the whole thing is called Avenging Angel. So I thought, whoa. So I'm at the gym, I'm doing cardio, and I'm reading, and I get to page 8, and I'm dead. I go, "Are there flashbacks?" No flashbacks.
None.
It was just, I fly across, and it was kind of based on Owen Hart. The accident that happened, and so
fell from the top of the stage.
I flew across the arena down in Texas. I flew across the arena, and they did a thing called a decelerator in the stunt world. Hey, they kick you loose, and so you're free falling, and then right before you hit, it goes and catches you.
Yeah,
and it's really a cool effect because you just kind of go along for the ride, and hopefully it works, and so that's what that one was. Hey, then the other one was what was the other one you were talking about as far as the
Well, I was going to ask for something about Jean-Claude.
Oh,
because I would be killed if I don't ask for about Jean-Claude Van Damme with David Keith and knowledge. So, what was he like to work with?
You know what? He was great as far as to me. I was only around him that little bit of a sequence of when he did the elevator splits and all that kind of stuff on there, and Goldberg was there. And it's funny how I ended up booking this one. I was doing a little bit of pro wrestling, workouts and stuff like that. And there was a manager down there that was managing Goldberg. And all of a sudden he called and said, "You want to go to Texas and he's going to do a backbreaker on you." And so I said, "Yeah." And so I went down there and did just jumped in. And I come running in and go, And then he picks me up and breaks my back. And what's so funny was he was wrestling. Goldberg was wrestling. They flew him in to shoot this. And we were just walking around with him in this room going, what do you want to do? And he just goes, you do back? And I said, yeah, I can do a backbreaker. And he goes, all right, we'll do a backbreaker on you. And then he threw another guy over a table and stuff. And he's stronger than crap. I was 250 at the time. And he, at one point, just kind of talking, he pressed me over his head and was walking around thinking about throwing me over a desk or something. And then he brought me down like this and goes, hey, I'm going to just, I said, cool. And so, yeah, that was the, and again, this is kind of gets messy. I get hired by the producers on this thing and not the stunt coordinator. And the stunt coordinator, I know, but he didn't get to hire one of his own boys. And so there's political stuff that happens sometimes. So you're on a job going, I'm happy and I know it. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, this guy isn't too, anyway, then all of a sudden you work it out. You just try and be as nice as possible and do a great job. And then you kind of go. So when you get hired either by the director or the producers, and then but if you pick off a job that a stuntman could have gotten for his company and all that kind of stuff, and so it gets messy at times. It's been a strange, but it's changed now a lot more than through the time period.
It's nice. It's nice to see. I got to ask a question. One of my friends pointed out to me that you were on Star Trek Enterprise.
Yeah.
And you were painted green because you were an Orion slaver.
Yeah.
And also you were Lagos in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which was full-on prosthetics, horns, full-on headgear, and which you fought Buffy as well. Now I got to ask, do you like the roles that when you're in the makeup chair when you get made up?
Yeah, I don't mind it. I don't mind the prosthetics. You really have to. It's a mind thing, man. It's almost like you do Navy SEAL breathing. When you do the plaster cast in the old days, they would put actual they put on your arm with bandages, and it would harden. The concrete would harden. You can't get out of it. They have to saw you out of it. Yeah. But if you panic and lose your breathing rhythm, you're in huge trouble. And so, the first time I had done that, these guys over at Sword and Stone had done this thing on me, and there was like a bunch of bikers, sweaty bikers, and I'm in this room, and the air wasn't very good, and I was breathing through straws, and I realized that I broke my nose so many times I couldn't breathe through it. And this is years ago. And nowadays, it's soft, smells great, and it's real easy to do. But the prosthetics and the suits, it's actually a challenge, and I made it a game to stay sane, as far as because I did one worse than that. It was my Demon Within, and it had horns that were strapped onto a helmet that had to be on there. And then I'd lean back with Lagos, and they'd put my eyes in, they'd put my teeth in, and we'd be ready for you to come walking in. And I'm on these stilts and all this stuff. And then Buffy and Sarah, the stunt double on that, she was freaking just an animal, great fighter, wonderful girl. The prosthetic stuff. It's. I actually enjoy it. I just got done doing one where I play an ogre on a show called Dwight and Shining, and he's kind of a mean idiot, and it's really fun. I've tried to cook the kids for three seasons now, as far as on it. And so it's all prosthetics.
Well, spoiler alert, because Lagos gets decapitated.
Yeah.
Much like Damien and Redwood Massacre. So it's you guys got something in common.
Yeah, Lagos got to make the monsters of Buffy. Yeah. I also played a one-eyed assassin on the ice rink with Buffy. I forgot the name of the character, but I show up and she does a skate to the throat.
Of course.
Yeah.
They run out of vampires. They had to bring in more things.
Yeah.
I was like,
so Angel and Buffy have this little love talk on the ice, and my dead body's laying there. And so the director goes, hey, here, I'm going to be shooting here, and my face is on the ice. I'm dead, And so he goes, listen, I pan up. You can lift your face off that ice, man. And I said, thanks. Well, once on action. So he goes, action. And all of a sudden I go to lift my face up, and Angel was stepping on my hair. I had long hair at the time, and I couldn't get my head off the ice. And so everybody in the room is quietly trying not to laugh as Buffy and Angel are having this romantic moment. And I'm laying there with my face into the ice.
Oh, it's so nice. You were there for those moments.
But yeah, great.
Now, you've been on quite a few crime TV programs.
Yeah.
You're on Murder, She Wrote. You're on Diagnosis Murder. And you're on Criminal Minds. How was Mr. Bieber?
Yeah, Justin Bieber. You know what's so funny was when that one happened, I didn't know who he was yet. And I was sitting, we were going to do the scene when we get in the fight, and I get arrested. And all of a sudden I hear the Justin Bieber. And so I called my niece and I said, hey, I'm working with Justin Bieber. And she goes, it's Bieber. Oh my God. And hey, I got to say this, he was a sweet kid, you know,
Yeah.
at that time. I remember when I was leaving, we had finished filming and I was leaving, he was out by skateboarding. He goes, "Hey dude, great working with you," you know. And then when I was sitting next to him in the first fight sequence, he looks at me and goes, "Hey, I'm not really an actor, man." And I go, "It's cool, but you're doing a great job." You know, I was like, I had no idea. Yeah.
Now you've done also a long stint on Waterworld, the live show at Universal Studios.
Yeah.
How does that compare to filmmaking?
Hey, you know what? I've done the Conan show before that. I've done 30 years of live shows. You know, it used to be I was bouncing at nightclubs in between work, you know, as far as you just, when work would get slow, you'd be bouncing at a nightclub and you get in fist fights. In fact, Joe and the Colonel, one of the things I was getting ready to go meet Network, and I had a guy on PCP that got me with a glass, and that's what that wrinkle is. It's a scar. Laid my whole forehead open and my eyes went black. And I had to go into Network with that stitches and all that to be this robot guy, you know. So yeah, and explain to him I bounce on weekends and I got hit with a breakaway, I mean a real glass. But it was wonderful, man. I loved it. I always joked around about that. They had to drag me out of there kicking and screaming because you would go there and there's world-class jet skiers and there's world-class high divers and there's, so as a stunt actor, man, you go, "Hey, listen, I got a thing where I'm got to do a back off." And so there's airbags and we just practice stunts. We would work out underwater and I loved every second of it, man. And then the live shows are just so much fun because guys mess with each other without the audience quite knowing anything's going wrong. My boat, for instance, I'd drive the Hellfire. I'd come around and hit this air horn and be like, and there's a machine gunner in front and all the chaos is going on, explosions. They put baby powder in the air horn and it would blow all over you, you know, just little things that audience wouldn't catch, but guys are pulling practical jokes on each other. And yeah, wonderful. It kept me in really good shape too, as far as I'm getting old, and I did that right up until just a couple of years back, and then yeah,
Must be a rush. Must be a rush in front of like the
people.
Like, yeah,
it is live shows, man. It's great. Yeah, it's I enjoy them. I freaking really enjoy them.
You've worked with quite a lot of humongous names, and one huge guy in name and now in physical appearance is Steven Seagal.
Yeah.
How was Mr. Seagal?
Steven treated us good. You have a stunt guy good. Yeah.
I've got here on my note.
There's a lot of stories and all the stuff that's going on and stuff like that. He's a trip, man. He's a trip. As far as with us, he you know, there's a whole story about him and Gene LaBelle and all that kind of stuff. And but Steven, when I was with him, he was actually, you know, he had to kneel down in this one shot, and I just came over to him and I said, "Hey, buddy, you want a knee pad, man?" And he just goes, "You know, I'm a little heavy right now. I'd appreciate that." but we had
looking out for him though, you know.
But we had put together this gigantic, cool knife fight, and we were all excited about it. And then we showed the director, and the director was all excited about it. And up on the rooftop, we talked to Steven, and we went to show him, and he just goes, "Yeah, no, I'm not going to do any of that. I'm going to," and he did his own knife thing. And so as all this work that we did, we were like, "Oh, Steven would have been great if he would have done it for us." But
moving swiftly on, I won't keep on, Mr. Seagal. Now, we touched on it, you were on Supergirl recently, and you're also in Batman Forever. But just out of curiosity, do you have any real life heroes that you look up to?
Wow, you know what? My father, he was a hero of mine as far as just I was raised on such a simple, and I still live my life really simple, man. I don't go out raging and crazy and doing stuff, and I appreciate that from the every Sunday I sat in church and watched my mom and dad sing in the choir, and my dad was, like I said, a big 6'4" policeman that. He was just a very good man as far as on this. He raised me right as far as all the crap that's going on right now. You know, I have no idea of color of skin and stuff like that. I was raised I hear trauma that people go through, and I feel so sad for them. My innocence, man, I played with G.I. Joes till 6th grade. I don't, you know, as far as I was just like a simple kid that just stayed. And my world is that way, you know, as far as, and I look at my folks for doing that. My mom and dad is the main heroes on that. It's sad when you know, I fell for Lance Armstrong and I was heartbroken. I read his book and all that, and then all that crap happened. So when you see your heroes crumble, you just go, man, I'm really careful now on who I say, hey, this is a wonderful man, or this is a wonderful woman, you know, and stuff like that. I just kind of go, yeah, it's tough.
No,
But,
that's
you know, yeah,
you said you come from a family of cops, you know, and it's fair to say that's a good, you know, thing to look up to. So, and
yeah.
it's a
We're
nice,
going through hard times right now, though, you know, as far
yeah,
as all the stuff going on. It's really heartbreaking.
mm,
In fact, it's one of the reasons why I kind of don't go Facebook too much. I do private messaging, but I had to go off of it because I've had friends and family members attack the police, and I just go, listen, man, this would, I don't want to get political,
no,
but
cool,
this would be like having a teacher that's a pedophile that's in the teaching thing, and you wipe out all the teachers
yeah,
because of that 1/10%. Now, you know, just a minor percentage that's bad, and then you wipe them all out. And this is what I feel about that's going on right now, and it's wrong. I have a niece right now who's a policeman. She's a sheriff, and I feel so bad for her because she's spit on and everything else here.
yeah.
They're being treated. And our politicians are marching in parades where they're saying, what do we want? Dead cops. When do we want it now? And there's our mayor. You know, he's in the middle of this, and I'm going, holy, it's Twilight Zone. But I don't want to talk politics.
Absolutely not. Well, sure.
Sorry, man.
I'm afraid that this is not going to be a nice, happy question or comment. But you worked with Rowdy Roddy Piper on his final film that never made it. I just wondered if you wanted to talk about, you know, maybe like how working with him, and then how you got the news that he had passed away.
Yeah. Hey, Roddy Piper, you know what? Through the years, I've had the opportunity to work. I did in Tough and Deadly. I fought Billy Blanks, who did the Taibo, and it was a Roddy Piper, Billy Blanks movie. And I competed in judo, and he was in that whole world. And so I was around Roddy Piper quite a bit through all the years. And he was just like you and me, just a normal, wonderful guy. And then when we were doing the final, the St. John Smith deal, he was real tight. We were working late at night, but just a wonderful freaking guy, laughing, but he was in pain and stuff. So we were bent, stretching him, trying to loosen him up and stretching and stuff like that. During that time, I grab a guy into this thing, and all of a sudden it's like this, and he stops the scene. He goes, that's the Gable grip. This is a Gable. He goes, that's the Gable grip. You can't break that loose. Because, you know, so he was fascinated that I do the Gable grip, you know, and it's just a passionate love of life deal. And so that film, that it started to go, we did a lot of it and stuff like that, and we heard he was sick, and then we heard he got well, and then I got a call, you know, from Rick Drayson, and he told me that hey, Roddy just passed away. Yeah. A wonderful, those guys, man, they're just amazing people as far as, yeah.
Yeah, it's a sad one, but then, you know, there's actually speaking about Roddy Piper and the fact that he was a wrestler in the WWE or WWF as it was at the time, and he wore a kilt, brings us round to Scotland. And how did you end up in Scotland?
Yeah, real quick, let me jump back to that thing. Buddy. Hey, so we were promoting that St. John Smith, and I got to set with him at one of the Horror Fest things. And everybody was in line with Hubba Bubba, because one of my favorite movies, you know, it was Roddy Piper, you know, They Live. It's the classic, and that fight that he did in They Live. And so
the longest fight ever with Keith David.
And then, yes. And so it was so much fun to be with him, and he was just signing autograph after autograph of Hubba Bubba and everything else, and laughing about it. Hey, but then it's Scotland.
Well, there you go. That takes us well. So you got Roddy Piper and Keith David, and you were in Scotland with David Keith. So, you know, it does work. You know?
Yeah.
How did you end up over here?
It's so interesting. You know, I had worked with, I did a horror film over here with Stephen Durham, and then we were in Alabama. We did a film, and then David Keith was working on, I believe, the sound and on that film, and so he called and just said, "Hey, listen, they got a project for you." And so, hey, I remember talking to David Keith and Lorraine on like a Zoom deal. We're talking, and then I had this army jacket. I was gonna wear a Vietnam jacket for Gus, and it's kind of developing the character and working it, you know. And all of a sudden, David shows this picture of him wearing that jacket, and I go, "Oh my God, that's beautiful!" And so, yeah. And hey, I gotta say, this whole thing of Redwood Massacre, Annihilation, man, it was from start to finish just a wonderful freaking project, man. I mean, all you guys are just wonderful. You guys are just all the way through the whole thing. I just really enjoyed it. And then Danielle, when I met her, and she was so cool, and busting her butt. But yeah,
well, it's actually quite an interesting one, because obviously you came across here with a longtime friend Damien Puckler,
yeah,
and worked with him. And as well, you talked earlier about being typecast as the bad guy, and you got to be Gus, who is the good guy.
yeah,
You know,
kind of.
and
It
even,
is, yeah.
yeah, compared to, you've got like, you know, we don't know much about Gus, and he's got a background where he's obviously like military at some point. But
Yeah,
compared to Ben, the burlap killer, and compared to Damien, Gus is very much the good guy.
yeah, 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 yeah.
It's
And it was wild. You know, what was so funny was that was another really cool thing that happened. Damien I've known for a long, long time. We did a horror film way back, and then he took off up north and did his
Grim.
Grim, and so then he'd be back in town, and we would go to fight parties together, and man, we rag on each other hard, you know, as far as the you know, it's rough. So there was a part of me when we were going over there, I thought, man, I hope I'm not going to be on camera trying to focus and trying to work, and he's going to be doing, you know, really farting around. And it wasn't, man. It was a fart around, and then we got ready to do business, man. It was like, I remember the first time I finished the scene, he just goes, dude, I like that, man. And I went, man, you just don't tell me I'm crap or something like that. And all of a sudden I realized,
waiting for the punchline.
So we worked as far as on, you know, his work ethic is dynamite, you know, Damien, it's dynamite. And so I went, man, we really bonded there, just because I was like, oh, buddy, this is good, man. And he's classical trained, Germany and everywhere else, man. He's got the real deal. And my stuff is just, like I said, talking and getting thrown through windows and crap. And so it was so cool to be around him. And then meeting Danielle, and then, hey, when you're in a scene with Danielle, we're talking just like here, but it's a scene. Also, it makes it so natural, and just she brings out the best in you, just because it's just like, you know, talking, and it's just dynamite. So it was really a great growth film for me, as far as to kind of go and play. And then David Keith, there's directors, man, you do not venture away, and they're really scary to work with. You're trying to just remember your lines and hit your mark. Don't screw up, because they're going to take their headphones and throw them and cuss at everybody. And so you're like walking on eggshells. With David, man, it was like, I'm going to experiment with this. I'm going to come in and try some Gus stuff, you know, because I had some little ideas here and there about, I think Gus is he motivates himself by talking to himself, but then I was going to throw that away. And all of a sudden the movie started, and I remember going down the thing going, all right, we got some, you know, and all of a sudden it was like, and all of a sudden I was like, oh man, it felt good. And he was like he's allowing you to kind of reach out during the scenes and do, and I thought that's freaking really cool, man. Yeah. And there's rumor of us getting to play again, and we're looking forward to that.
I've heard those rumors too. I've heard it sounds good. Sounds good. I'd love to, honestly. I was gonna just fill you in some stories, like your impact on set. You know, like the first day that you walked in, you went around everybody, you said hi to everybody, and we'd been together for a few days, and we were in the prison set. We're all sitting in there, and Ben arrived for the first day on the prison set, and I remember I spoke to Ben about this and asked if I could tell him the story. Like, he was really nervous. He was really, really nervous. Ben's such a nice guy, and he was really worried about going on set and meeting everyone, because we'd all been together and he hadn't met anyone yet. And I went outside and met him, and I was speaking away to him. And then when I walked in, the first person he met was you. You were sitting down next to the door, and I introduced you, and you got up and you basically was, oh my God, I can't wait to work with you. You know, it's going to be so much fun and everything. And that put Ben at ease for the rest of the shoot. He was really worried about it. And also there was a story going around that the Grips wanted to put their money together to fly you back across to get you there for the premiere of the movie. So obviously, as things went, it is never going to happen because of COVID and everything. But it's so cool. It's just it was a lovely sentiment for them. So
yeah. But, hey, I gotta say, oh, go ahead.
No, go.
I gotta say about Ben, man, he's great. He stepped up, man, because hey, you know, when it comes near the end of the film and we're running out of time, and then that hallway's narrow and all the little things, we're trying to just, buddy, and then all of a sudden you don't know how it's going to go, and all of a sudden we first hit bang, and I went, dude, that was freaking perfect. I mean, he stood up as a stunt guy, wonderful. Plus his character's great. But
and he was wearing a mask on top of his mask.
Yes.
And there was no air in that corridor, no
Oh, I
fresh
know.
air. It's just
Suffocate.
yeah,
Oh,
and you guys went for it. And I remember you were doing all like sort of close ups, and then we did the wide. So you did the whole thing through twice, I think it was, and
yeah,
the 2 years at the end of it, and everyone was in the corridor. The whole corridor behind the camera was packed with all the people watching.
yeah,
You know, obviously had the sound crew, but everyone was there. All the grips, so everyone was on set to watch it, and it's actually a really cool moment because it was in the original Redwood Massacre. There was a scene where this big guy that's in the film was supposed to take on Ben, and he didn't want to do the scene. And that was always David and I had this vision of
oh,
that was going
wow,
to be like the big moment, and
yeah,
that's something that we're like. David was like insistent. He's like, I have to throw in this big fight. There has to be a fight scene, you know.
yeah.
So it was just it was one of those things, and you got to fulfill that dream for us. So thank you very much.
Right. No, it was just magic, dude. It was freaking magic. I wish we had. You know, it's always that we have more time. You know,
Yeah,
and it's, you know, it'd been great to have a little more time
we'll
on
spend
stuff.
more time on it in the third one. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
I've got. This is basically on Redwood Massacre Annihilation. This is a quick fire round where I'm going to hit you with some names, and I want you to give me like very short, one word, two words if possible, answers of what you think of these people. Ready?
Yeah.
Danielle Harris,
I hate professional. So professional,
Damien Puckler,
disciplined, and yeah, good man. Yeah,
Tevi Poe,
Debbie was wonderful. She was a blast.
John Campling,
John Camplin, I got along with him. We talked acting. You know what? Which David Keith doesn't enjoy. I enjoyed talking to him about I'm experimenting with this, you know, and all that. And so I actually got along with him.
good. Ben Selway,
Been a wonderful guy. You know what, man? Hey, what a gentle beast. You know, hey, he as a man, he is just a very loving, caring guy, man. Yeah.
uh, David Ryan Keith,
Even Ryan Keith. Hey, listen, I just wonderful as far as, like I said, he allowed it to just kind of experiment on the set and be comfortable with it. And that was just magic.
Lorraine Keith,
Well, wonderful. It's fun. It's sweetheart as far as on it. Yeah. And professional at the same time, which is also great. You know, you have sometimes you work with somebody really sweet and they're not professional. You work with them and they're professional and sweet. It's wonderful.
and Liam Matheson.
Liam. Oh, man.
Moving swiftly on. Here's my next question.
Very talented. Yeah, wonderful, dude. Yeah.
Moving my next question. Did you you went for a swim in our most famous lake, which is Loch Ness?
Yeah.
And did you find Nessie?
Didn't find Nessie, man. But I tell you, as a child here, we've studied and read about it. And it's just so it was a fascinating thing. And this is another thing that happened, which was just so wonderful. I was planning on just taking the train down to the towns and then trying to get up to Loch Ness on my own and all that stuff. And then when everybody else wanted to go and stuff like that. So we were in a van running around Scotland and doing that. And Hemdy went in the water with me, you know, and we were just done. I go, hey, man, I want to swim Loch Ness, man. And then at the castle, we stuck in the water.
That picture of you and Hemdy just looks like he's in hell.
Oh, I was too, though. Yeah. Yeah.
It's something, you know, like you guys went obviously in Loch Ness. I always say to people who do it, people that go to visit Loch Ness, I always say you might not have seen her, but she probably saw you.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's in there. So, do you have any upcoming projects that you'd like to talk about?
You know, I do. I do. I got a couple of rumors going, but then I did a short film called Man of Fire, and it's still being worked on. It was a short that we shot here, and a Canadian director, and so we're going to do the big one up in Canada. And so I hate watching bits and pieces at times on stuff, but I got to see the dragon. I have a scene with you. This is another bucket list thing, a special effects dragon, because, you know, you're sitting there looking at this thing and then the effects guys are there and they go about the size of 2 elephants and they're going to be right here. So mark that spot right. That's a good place to look. So you're just looking at nothing and trying to react to it. And as I saw some of the footage and the effects of this dragon are incredible. So
I was going to say it's either it's going to go one way or the other. It's going to be
yes, if it's crap. And so my mind was like kind of going, oh. We shot this up at a place called Lone Pine, which is a high altitude. So we did all the sword fighting at 7,000 feet. And so, man, I was sucking wind as far as it was a big long fight, and I had the girl on my back while we were wrestling, and it was and up on altitude like that. And so I've seen bits and pieces of the fight when I was looping, but it looks like it's going to be turning into a full feature now up in Canada. So I'm waiting for that one. Yeah.
Awesome. And then the rumors of another Redwood.
Oh man, yeah. There's rumors of that one, and there's man. It'd be freaking. I want to come back to Scotland, man.
And we want you back. Honestly, I just wrote down basically from the experience of what we had of having you on set, like people going about people being so nice and everything and positive and role models and all this stuff. You certainly are, and this I'm not trying to just big you up or anything like that. You are such a nice guy, and working with you on set and your positivity and your your positive outlook on everything, it came off and it came right across to the crew and everything else. All the guys loved working with you, and when you were on set, it built them up. They're just like, oh my God, Gary's here, and it's just like you would come down and you'd say hi to everybody, and it was as much the whole cast for the best part of it were much the same, but they're definitely got your positivity just oozes out of you, and everyone else just gets so like happy that you're there. So
you guys were great, man. All the way down, everybody. It's so funny as far as sound people, everything, man. We just wonderful.
I think the only thing the crew was gutted about was that you never came out with us.
You have to come back. I know. I missed some of those epic nights, you guys. You guys would show me footage.
But John completely drunk out his mind. Like,
how did you guys stay alive? It's hard to be so tired, man, because you'd be filming and working your butts off, and then it'd be like, that's it. And you guys are just, oh my gosh.
Well, there was one day. It was the day we came. You guys were having breakfast, I think, or lunch, whatever time it was. But we had to do a fill-in day, and we had a skeleton crew. There was me and I think John from the camera crew. And Ginger Jack, and we came in, and you were just like, oh my God, and Sam was with us, and it was like, and you were really like, and then we showed you the video footage of us singing karaoke with Katie and that the night before, and it was just like, you were like, how are you guys standing?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And I think we were all in that garage next to the house that we're all sweating and behind the scene with the lights are on. We're just like, oh my God. And I think we had pizza for lunch that day. It was just crazy. So, but no, that was good fun. But no, listen, I really look forward. I hope we get to work together again. Thank you for doing this interview.
Wonderful. Hey, great talking to you. Man,
and I really hope things sort of clear up and we can all get back to kind of like a normal life. But I've only got one request left, and this is off the top of my head. But just to finish off this interview, ring the bell. Gary, Kasper, thank you very much. Take care.
Take care.